മാത്രമാണ് ഈ സായംസന്ധ്യയിൽ മഹാമാരിയുടെ ദുരന്ത മുഖത്ത് വെച്ച് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരുന്നത്. ബെറ്റർ ഡെമോക്രസിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള സയന്റിഫിക് തിങ്കിങ്, സയൻസ് നിരന്തരമായ വെല്ലുവിളികൾ നേരിട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാലഘട്ടമാണ്. ശാസ്ത്രീയ ഗവേഷണം സ്വകാര്യ കമ്പനികൾ ഫണ്ട് നൽകുന്ന പദ്ധതികളിലേക്ക് മാത്രം ചുരുങ്ങുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഫണ്ടിങ് കഠിനമായി വെട്ടിക്കുറച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു. ഇന്ന് ഗവേഷണം പ്രോത്സാഹിപ്പിക്കപ്പെടുന്നത് അന്ധവിശ്വാസങ്ങളും മന്ത്രവാദവും മതപരമായ പുരാണങ്ങളും തെളിയിക്കാനുള്ള പദ്ധതികളിലാണ്. ഒരു കാലത്ത് ബൗദ്ധിക രംഗത്ത് ഉന്നത സ്ഥാനം അലങ്കരിച്ച വാക്കായിരുന്നു റാഡിക്കൽ എന്നുള്ളത്. മൗലികമായ ചിന്ത എന്നായിരുന്നു റാഡിക്കൽ എന്ന പദത്തിന്റെ അർത്ഥം. യുക്തിബോധം, വിശേഷിച്ചും അന്ധമായ വിശ്വാസങ്ങളുടെയും സ്ഥാപിത താല്പര്യങ്ങളുടെയും കെട്ടുകളിൽ നിന്ന് ചിന്തകളെ മോചിപ്പിക്കൽ. ഇന്ന് ഈ വാക്കിന് അർത്ഥത്തിന്റെ അധപ്പതനം സംഭവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു എന്നതാണ്. വളരെ പ്രാകൃതവും അന്ധവുമായ വിശ്വാസങ്ങൾക്ക് അടിമകളായി ക്രൂരവും മനുഷ്യത്വരഹിതവുമായ കൃത്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്തു വരുന്നവരെയാണ് ഇന്ന് റാഡിക്കൽ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നത്. എന്താണ് സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്? യുക്തി എന്ന ഉപകരണത്തിന് തുരുമ്പ് പിടിക്കുമ്പോൾ സങ്കല്പനങ്ങൾക്ക് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുവാൻ പ്രയാസമായി തീരുന്നു. അവയുടെ ഇടം യാഥാസ്ഥികത കയ്യേറുന്നു. വെറുപ്പും ഭയവും അക്രമവും നിസ്സഹായതയുമാണ് യാഥാസ്ഥികത വന്നു ചേരുമ്പോൾ തരുന്ന സംഭാവനകൾ. മാർച്ച് ഫോർ സയൻസ് എന്ന റാലി ഭൗമിക ദിനത്തിൽ മുൻ വർഷങ്ങളിൽ നടന്നത് പലർക്കും ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടാകും. 600ഓളം നഗരങ്ങളിലാണ് ഈ മാർച്ച് ഫോർ സയൻസ് എന്ന റാലി നടത്തേണ്ടി വരുന്നത്. അതായത് അന്ധമായ പാരമ്പര്യ ആരാധനയെ ഒഴിവാക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനെ നിരാകരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ യുക്തിബോധത്തെ തിരിച്ചു പിടിക്കുക എന്നുള്ള ഏറ്റവും പുതിയ ഒരു പ്രതിജ്ഞാബദ്ധത ലോക സമൂഹത്തിന് തന്നെ ഇന്ന് വേണ്ട സമയമാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഈ അന്ധമായ പാരമ്പര്യ ആരാധനയാണ് കേരളത്തിലും അല്ല ഇന്ത്യയിലുള്ളത്. അന്ധമായ രീതിയിലുള്ള പുസ്തകങ്ങളുടെ ആരാധനയായാലും ശരി, അത് പിന്നെ മറ്റേതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിലുള്ള ആരാധനയായാലും അതിലെല്ലാം തന്നെ ഭാസത്തിന്റെ ഒരു ബീജം ഉണ്ട് എന്നാണ്. അപ്പൊ ആധുനികതയുടെ സമ്പൂർണമായ നിരാസം അതിന്റെ ഭാഗം തന്നെയാണ്. ശാസ്ത്രീയ യുക്തിചിന്തയുടെ നിരാസം ഇതിന്റെ ഭാഗമാണ്. നമുക്കറിയാം, ഇന്ത്യയുടെ വൈവിധ്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു ജടിലമായ വൈവിധ്യമാണ്, ഏകശിലാത്മകമല്ല. ധാരാളം സങ്കീർണതകൾ അതിനകത്തുണ്ട്. പെട്ടെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ അത് കഴിയുകയില്ല. അതായത് ഈ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന സംസ്കാരത്തെ ഇല്ലാതാക്കാനും അതിനെ ഏകശിലാത്മകമാക്കാനുമാണ് കൊളോണിയൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പൊതുകാലത്തിന്റെ അധികാര രൂപങ്ങളെല്ലാം തന്നെ ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ ജനാധിപത്യം എന്ന പദത്തെ കൂടി ഒന്ന് പരിചയപ്പെടേണ്ടത്. ജനാധിപത്യം എന്ന വാക്ക് വാസ്തവത്തിൽ ഒരു പരിഹാസപദമായിട്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, അത് ഗ്രീക്കിൽ നിന്ന്, പഴയ ഗ്രീസിലെ ആഢ്യന്മാരാണ് ജനാധിപത്യം എന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. ചരിത്രത്തിൽ ഇല്ലാത്ത ആളുകളുടെ, സാധാരണ തെരുവിലൂടെ നടക്കുന്ന ആളുകളുടെ അരാജകത്വം എന്ന അർത്ഥത്തിലാണ്, ഒരു പരിഹാസ രൂപത്തിലാണ് ജനാധിപത്യം ഉരുത്തിരിഞ്ഞു വന്നത്. അത് ധനികർക്കും ശക്തിയുള്ളവർക്കും അധികാരം ലഭിക്കുക എന്നുള്ള വിശ്വാസത്തിൽ നിന്നാണ് ഉണ്ടായത്. ഇന്നും ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഒരു വിഭാഗം ആളുകൾ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത് ജനാധിപത്യത്തിന്റെ ഉടമ തങ്ങളാണെന്നാണ്. തങ്ങൾക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ശക്തരാകാൻ, കൂടുതൽ സമ്പന്നരാകാൻ, കൂടുതൽ അധികാരങ്ങൾ നേടാൻ, സാംസ്കാരികവും സാമൂഹികവും ദൈക്ഷണികവുമായ അധീശത്വം നേടാനുള്ള ഒരു വ്യവസ്ഥയാണ് ജനാധിപത്യം എന്ന് കരുതുന്ന ആളുകൾ ധാരാളമായി ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഇന്ന് ജീവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അവർ കരുതുന്നത് സ്വന്തം സ്വത്തും സ്വന്തം ആനുകൂല്യങ്ങളും വളർത്താനുള്ള സംവിധാനമാണ് ജനാധിപത്യം എന്നാണ് അവർ കരുതുന്നത്. വാസ്തവത്തിൽ ജനാധിപത്യം എന്നത് നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ടത് ഭരണരൂപം എന്നതിനേക്കാൾ ജനാധികാരം എന്ന അർത്ഥത്തിലാണ്. ഹേട്രഡ് ഓഫ് ഡെമോക്രസി, ജനാധിപത്യത്തോടുള്ള വിദ്വേഷം എന്ന പുസ്തകം എഴുതിയ രാക്ക് റാൻസിയർ പറയുന്നത് പോലെ ജനാധിപത്യം ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഭാഷയെ കലപിലയാക്കുകയാണ്. ഇതുവരെ നാം കേൾക്കാതിരുന്ന ശബ്ദങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങുമ്പോഴാണ് ഒരു ജനാധിപത്യം പ്രവർത്തനക്ഷമമാകുന്നത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, അതിരുകളിലേക്ക് മാറ്റി നിർത്തപ്പെട്ട അനേകം ജനവിഭാഗങ്ങളുണ്ട്, അനേകം ജീവികളുണ്ട്. പരിസ്ഥിതിയിൽ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ എല്ലാ ജീവികൾക്കും ജീവിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു അവസ്ഥ ഉണ്ടാവേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. ഒരു ജൈവിക ജനാധിപത്യ പ്രക്രിയ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ശാസ്ത്രീയ ചിന്തയിലൂടെ ഉരുവം കൊള്ളുന്നത് എന്ന വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പ്രസക്തമായ ഒരു വിഷയത്തെ നിന്ന് നിങ്ങളുടെ മുമ്പിൽ അവതരിപ്പിക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് അതിഥിയായി കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത് ഡോക്ടർ ഫെലിക്സ് ബാസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. ശ്രീ ഡോക്ടർ ഫെലിക്സ് ബാസ്റ്റിനെ കൊല്ലം ശ്രീനാരായണ കോളേജിന് വേണ്ടി ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ആദരവോടെ സ്വാഗതം ആശംസിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ എളിയ വാക്കുകൾ അവസാനിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you, Sunil Kumar sir. Let me introduce Dr. Felix Bast. I'm in both proud and pleasure to introduce Dr. Felix Bast, today's speaker. Dr. Felix Bast is an associate professor and science writer based at Central University of Punjab, where he is heading Department of Botany. He was a BSc gold medalist. He was educated at University of Madras, Guindy campus and IIT Mumbai. In 2005, he was selected under prestigious Japanese government international doctoral fellowship and earned his PhD in molecular phylogenetics from MEX, Japan in 2010. His major research contributions include the discovery of 5 new species of marine algae from Indian coast named after him, the discovery of endophytic algae from the Indian Ocean for the first time, and demystification of blood rain phenomenon. He is a principal investigator of 10 research and teaching grants from agencies including UGC, DST, Ministry of Earth Sciences, ICSSR, and Indian Academy of Sciences with a funding of 1.5 crore rupees. Dr. Felix is actively involved in transdisciplinary research combining liberal arts with sciences. He has guided 1 postdoc, 9 PhDs, 16 MPhil, 24 MSc, and 1 international exchange fellow. And his publication metrics: total Sci-Index journal articles 41, book chapters 10, books 4, which include Voyage to Antarctica, which was published in 2019 based on his personal experience and has received several critical acclaims for the same. And popular science articles and newspaper essays 17, H-Index 11, I-10 Index 11, and total publication 70. Really, I'm quite jealous about it, Felix. In 2016, Dr. Felix undertook an expedition to Antarctica and stayed at India's research stations Bharti and Maitri as part of Ministry of Earth Sciences Indian Scientific Expedition. For research-related works, including training and dissemination, he had visited 23 countries worldwide. Dr. Bast has trained at Friday Harbor Laboratories, University of Washington, with a fellowship from National Science Foundation, USA, and he underwent training at Natural History Museum, London, and Marine Biological Association, Plymouth, UK. Dr. Felix is an early adopter of e-learning and involved with UGC EPG Pathshala and UGC Swayam MOOC. In 2020, one of the online courses in UGC Swayam has been ranked as the 7th best online course in the world. He was the coordinatorship. Dr. Bast served as an elected National Core Committee member representing biology and medicine at Indian National Young Academy of Sciences 2020. Subsequently, he founded India's first Young Academy open to all fields of knowledge, Young Academy of India, and initiated its integral program, Mendex, which is touted as one of the world's largest ideological matchmaking platforms. He is also a member of National COVID-19 Task Force by INSA and Indian Scientists Respond to COVID-19, Inside COVID. And some of the awards he obtained: elected fellow of INSA INYAS, DST INSA Inspire Faculty Award, Inspired Teacher Recognition invited in President intern with President of India at Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi, 2015. Teacher Innovator Award Commendation Certificate from MHRD, Government of India. NAM, GMT, Germany, International Guest Scientist Award, British Psychological Society Student Bursary Award in 2009. He has membership in professional bodies like British Psychological Society of America and India, Society for Environmental Botanists, Indian Lichenological Society, and Indian Linguistic Society. Dr. Bast is a known science communicator in India through his writings, outreach talks, and YouTube videos fostering critical thinking and scientific skepticism. His talk has been featured in numerous media, including TEDx. In addition, he is an avid cyclist, a runner, a frequent blood donor, and an advocate of zero waste and low carbon footprint lifestyle. A warm welcome to you to start your session, Dr. Felix. Over to Felix.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Jisha Surya, for inviting me here. It's my privilege to be part of this program, this Agora 2020-2021. And I can see that a large number of participants in here. I'm really happy. And I'm also really happy to listen to Dr. R. Sunil Kumar, and his words are full of profound wisdom, especially on the importance of the rationality and why the superstitions are overpowering the rationality. I really enjoyed your talk, sir. And it's fantastic. The people like you are at the hem of the institutions. I'm really, really happy. Kind of a rare asset, and something which we cannot see rest of the nation. I'm really happy to be here with you all. And and also Dr. Aparna. And this SN College, Kollam, I have been many times, but not this college. And probably I can pay a visit in my next trip to Kollam. So, and today is also a very, very important day. It's International Workers' Day, the May Day, to commemorate the, Haymarket affair. The bombing happened way back in 1886 in the US, in Chicago, Of course, it's not about that one incident, but it's a celebration of the spirit of the working class and the class struggle, and of course, the workers need its own democracy as well, right? So this particular talk is very general, nothing scientific about it, and it's more about democracy as well as science, and why these two are really important and interlinked. Okay, so could you please wait? I have a visitor. I'll just attend and come back here. Okay, short within.
It's okay.
Maybe 1 minute. Okay.
It's okay.
Yes, sorry for inconvenience. So I'll just come back here. Yes, so this one is, the title of this one is Scientific Thinking for Better Democracy, which is really general. And I can see that Dr. Jisha was saying a philosophy teacher is going to say the vote of thanks today. So it's kind of a philosophical merger too. So yeah, at the forefront, what exactly is this scientific thinking? Or rather, what is science? Recently, we had a program. Okay, so I attended a major program, and then there is one nonagenarian scholar, very famous name, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. He got nonagenarian means 90 plus. I don't want to say who is that person. So he revealed that he had got 3 heart attacks in the last 1 decade. And he also had a bypass surgery, and all, on the top of all these problems, he had been a cancer survivor, you see. And then he declared that I'm alive today by the grace of God, and then the entire audience stood up and started applause, wide clap. Wow. So then I was just thinking about it. So what, this is amazing, right? That by the grace of God that he had these surgeries, and he had been a cancer survivor. Yeah. So then if you turn back 1 century, friends, if you think about just 1 century back, do you know the world's average life expectancy was how much? Just 40 years, 40. Now, at present, the world's life expectancy is approximately 82 years. 72 years. I'm sorry, 72 years. And here in India, it is only 69 years. We are actually lesser than the world's average life expectancy. And from 40 years, just a turn back of 100 years, we don't really, not many people are aware of this fact. It was just 40 years, just 100 years back, and then now it is approximately 72 years. And how did we achieve this remarkable progress? Is it because the God was not existing during those days, 100 years back? No. Arguably the religion was at the top during those days, and faith healing was super popular. Prayer, everything happened, and during those days was like middle ages or dark ages. You can see that religion dominance was overbearing those days. It is much more omnipresent during those days than today, and yes, we maybe it's a convenient interpretation, but we tend to overlook that the remarkable progress that we achieved in today's science, scientific research is due to, I mean, the progress is all because of the science, science and technology, the contribution by large number of scientists that we take it for granted, especially antibiotics and vaccines. The key discoveries have saved a large number of lives. The antibiotics by like penicillin. Of course, the penicillin was the first antibiotics discovered by Alexander Fleming, and that itself has saved billions of life till date. If you look at the humanity, and vaccines by Edward Jenner, the smallpox vaccine, right? And yeah, so by the way, do you know the vaccine? The word itself is coming from Latin. Vacca. Vacca means cow. Very interesting fact. I was not knowing that. And if you look at our own Malayalam, the speaker, the Dr. Jisha was telling that I have some interest on linguistics. Yes, I have a project with ICSSR as well, Indian Council of Social Science Research. It's very rare breed, I can say. A biologist, it was just an idea I had how the languages evolve. So I proposed an idea to ICSSR. My pet idea was that these language evolution tracing by phylogenetics is just like DNA sequence in classical phylogeny. You can also construct the database of the languages with various phonemes, as well as the grammar and word, so same word in different languages, how does it say? So based on that, you can numerically code it. And then I proposed to ICSSR, and they accepted it. They granted me a major grant. So it's very interesting. There are a lot of parallelism between linguistic evolution and organic evolution. So it's a digress from the topic, yeah. But yes, that we actually take it for granted. These two things. I was telling you about the vaccine. The word vaccine is coming from vaka, that is actually cow, in Latin. And in Malayalam as well, if you really see that, the vaccination, now we call it as Prathirodha Kuttiveppu, right? So much more older, in older Malayalam, it used to be called Go Vasuri Kuttiveppu. Now we call it as Prathirodha Kuttiveppu, but yeah, Go Vasuri was the older Malayalam. Very interesting. So now that we don't even know that the history of how the vaccination came in force, by Edward Jenner. And yes, now we have 73 years, friends, 72.9 or something. Yes, 73 years is the world's average life expectancy. And still, we don't think about the science. The scientists are not even getting any respect in society, and yeah, famous people are giving full credit to the religion and the God for their life, and you see that, well, of course, I was in Japan. As the speaker introduced me, I did my PhD there. I was I'm thankful to the government. Of course, I applied to the government of India. In Government of India has the Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development, and now it has been renamed as Ministry of Education. And annually there is a call. It's called MEXT scholarship, MEXT. That stands for Monpuka Gakusho. That is Japanese government. And if you're a student, you can apply right now. The call is open. Till May. I think May 26th is the deadline. and you can apply for it. It's very good fellowship, and I was there for 5 years in Japan. By the way, do you know Japan is a very small country? The size is approximately like our Uttar Pradesh, you know, and it has achieved remarkable, I would say, phenomenal success in all dimensions of the human life. And do you know the reason? The reason is something called Kaizen. The Japanese word Kaizen is basically science inspired lifestyle. So what is this Kaizen? That exactly is what the science is all about. So many academicians have a tendency to make it really complicated, simple things. They think that if you actually express that in a much more complicated manner, to portray a more sophisticated picture. No, I mean, it's of no point. It's all vanity, isn't it? So scientific methodology is full of jargons. They like to say like high observation, then hypothesis, then experiment, and p-value, interpretation of p-value, and reject or not reject null hypothesis. Oh my God. Why to make it highly complicated? So yes, it's, of course, when I came to academia, I realized that, the whole purpose of writing a manuscript is just to inflate the weak idea and to obscure the poor reasoning and inhibit the clarity. That is what is happening in the academia. You're just publishing the trash. That leads you only two purposes. I always love to say that. Almost 99.9% of the publications, even in high impact journals, lead to two things. One, may help you to get a job. And two, if you're already in job, it might help you to get a promotion. And that's it. No much of the impact. All these impact factors and all these publications are mostly crap. So there is a philosophical concept called Ocams Razor, named after William of Ockham, on 14th century British philosopher. So what is this Occam's Razor? If there are multiple solutions to a same problem, stick with the simplest solution. It's like razor, if you know that razor, right? So if one blade razor can give you a very good shave, why you want to go for 2 blade, 3 blade, 5 blade, 8 blade? Where is the count starting? If you look in the Amazon, you can see that even there are razor for 16 blade. Oh my God, what is the point of going this complication? Or a shower gel, taking bath with the shower gel. If you look at the shower gel backside, you will see the aqua is the ingredient. What is this aqua, by the way? Water. 99% of all shower gel is nothing but aqua, and you're paying humongous money. The markup is extreme. They're just fooling you, and still, the ad propaganda, you believe in it, right? So as a shampoo, I was also, I was also a victim of this advertisement propaganda, and now no more. I don't use shampoo at all. I just use a very old brand called Kesh Nikhar, for my hair. Well, I don't have very good hair, but still, yeah, it's okay for me. The reason of my shifting is all about sustainability and reducing my carbon footprint. The packaging of the shampoo bottles or aqua, all these things, just use and throw. And where does this go? It's plastic. Ultimately, the final destination is ocean, friends. And it changes into microplastics, and it gives a huge, tremendous number of problems. Even Antarctica, the penguin population is now reducing because of these microplastics. Well, I can spend hours talking all these problems. Please check out my YouTube channel. I have actually produced a large number of videos explaining all these things. Okay. So basically, yeah, so there is no point in going for such complicated solutions in our life. For example, I have a very good medical insurance that also covers lung transplant and liver transplantation. Do you think that is the best option for me to continue smoking and drinking? No, again, that is a very complicated solution. The best option is remove the vices from your life. Remarkable progress you can get by subtraction rather than addition. Just remove it. For example, river Ganges is highly polluted. Do you think it's a worth option to spend thousands of crores of rupees to clean up the mess? No, the best option is to educate. The grassroots level education is what it actually pays a huge dividend as the years goes by, you know. So that is the why and negative approach. So science is actually very simple. I would define science as learning from failures. You know, we all face failures in our life. Are we learning from failures? That is exactly the core principle of the science and scientific method, friends. You might have heard of this, adagium, right, or apothegm called "practice makes men perfect." Haven't you heard of it? Yeah, you might think that it's very well, but no, I completely disagree with that thing. So, for example, chess. You know, so there is a rating called ELO. My rating is quite high. 2000 is my rating. So how did I improve my ELO rating? Just by playing a large number of games? No. If you play a lot of games, the ELO rating will not improve. Only option to improve the ELO rating is to analyze whenever you fail, which part of your strategy went off, you know, and make sure you don't repeat that same mistake again. That exactly is the Kaizen. That is called the scientific thinking, friends. Learning from failures. You know, I can share one of my experience. I was wandering in the streets of Connaught Place in Delhi a few years back. Then I saw an advertisement there, you know, a small poster. The poster say it's an advertisement of a book, and I will not say which book is that. I don't want to make controversies here. And the advertisement says that for the last 400 years, not a single revision. So please read our book. You know, that is what the advertisement says. I was just thinking 400 years, no revision. So same thing happens to the school textbook, especially the science books. Then we will still be learning that Earth is the center of universe. You know, science is progressing remarkably not by confirmation, but by disconfirmation. You know, that is what the scientific method is all about. You know, I can share yet another of my personal experience. 8 years back, I went to a doctor. I had a fever, and you know, that time as well as this time, I have a bad habit. The bad habit is that whenever the doctor prescribes a medicine, I Google it. I want to know what is the content of this medicine. I did the same of 8 years back also. And then the Google research came, and the first result, you know, was Gazette of India. I clicked it, and then I found that what the doctor prescribed me 8 years back was already banned in India 5 years prior to that date. He was not updated, friends. Einstein famously said, the day you stop learning, you start dying. You know, everything is related. Everything is scientific method. You know, you should criticize yourself. Then only you can make progress. You should learn it. Life is, you know, it's an avenue for continuous learning, friends. So learning is not education too. That is what many people get confused. If you have a PhD, that means that you are a learned fellow. No, people with PhDs are the one which are actually spreading lots of fake news. I came across that in my lifetime. You know, so some people have got no school education, but they are so much well you know, well educated in one sense. You know, it's not really education and learning are not, you cannot compare it. One of my good friend is a peon in you know, Kannur collectorate office, and the kind of the you know, analysis that he shares in Facebook, it's amazing. I can say it's really amazing. So it's not really same education and professors. I know many professors and MBBS people, the doctor, you know, the physicians are the one who are spreading the superstition. Drastically, they're spreading it. Then what's the point of these degrees? You know, makes no sense. So Kaizen is basically continuous learning from the failures to the feedback loops. That is exactly, it's a management strategy. You know, if you're a teacher, the best option to improve your teaching is to ask your students for anonymous feedback. It should never be anonymous. Anonymous means they can reveal their name. No, then that actually defeats the whole purpose of the feedback. So only through feedback that you can actually improve. That is, you know, that is basically the reason behind the famous Japanese workmanship. You know, for example, automobile, Toyota or Honda, I mean, you name it. Any Japanese company has got its own, you know, the quality standards, right? Or camera makers, Nikon, Pentax, or Canon, right? Olympus, all these big names. Fujifilm, my favorite camera is Fujifilm. Or consumer electronics like Sony, Every single thing, it's all because of this Kaizen. Learn from the failure, you know. So we should treat our own life also the same way. You know, earlier we used to say that life is like a dance, you know, it's like a drama or a dance. I would say no, that life is not a dance. Life is a game. It's better metaphor, because you know, the failures, whenever you fail on a game like a chess, this failure should be treated as information that should influence our future decision making. It's exactly like the Bayesian concept of statistics is, you know, the posterior and prior probabilities. So the, you know, the information actually guides, keep on refining your prior probabilities in Bayesian approach. And that exactly is what the science is all about. So you know, and you know, the if it's a game, if you ever played a video game, level 1 and level 2 and level 3 are all same difficulty level, would you be happy to play it? No, right? Of course, you need much more challenging levels, because at level 1 we are learning something. Then we are applying what we learn in level 2, and then level 3 progressively gets harder and harder. And of course, we can, you know, we can get it through, right? If you learn it nicely. That exactly is the life. We have to learn it, you know, and we have to criticize ourselves. Then only we can actually make tremendous progress. The criticism I've written on Hindu as well a few, you know, few months back. Truth versus lies, that is a title in the op-ed column. The article is about my recent experience in Germany. I went there for sabbatical and I was in Berlin. And in Berlin, I went to a museum. If you ever get a chance to go to Europe, please visit that particular. I mean, Europe is full of interesting museum, but Berlin has got this museum called Topography of Terror, a very interesting museum. And the museum is completely funded by German federal government. It's like our government of India, no? And what does this museum says? The museum displays all kinds of artifacts that Germans, how cruel they were, you know, so how bad they were actually doing all during the Holocaust time. That what the entire cruelty, the genocide that the Hitler has inflicted on the entire humankind during those days, you know, right from 1910s to 1940s, you know, during the Nazi regime. So yes, they were criticizing themselves. I felt super happy. That is exactly what the science is, friends. Government should criticize themselves. I was just thinking about it. If the Germans can do that self-criticism, Germans can have a state-funded museum that portray how bad, how cruel the Germans were. How about Indians? Can we ever imagine a museum in New Delhi funded by government of India, and that portrays, you know, all the bad things that we were doing to humanity, like sati, you know, or untouchability, or casteism, of course, casteism, you know, or honor killings. It's just a wild dream, isn't it? Do you think it's possible? Yes, it is possible. We have to actually work towards it. Then the democracy becomes much better, friends. You know, so fail better to become a better version of yourself. That is what Kaizen is. It's not simple fail and redo, fail and redo. No, fail better each time and transform yourself to a better version of yourself, you know. And you always remember that in science there is no belief. Many people ask me, what is your belief about COVID-19 hoax? You know, like a Chinese made, the coronavirus is Chinese lab made. What is my belief? I said, no, well, I don't have any belief. It's immaterial. You know, it's immaterial. You believe in electron or you do not believe in electron. We know it. Electron exists. If there is no electron, how can you see me, right? And yes, so that is what belief has got no place on, you know, on in science. So science, the backbone of science is skepticism, questioning, philosophical, you know, skepticism is what the science is all about. One good analogy would be jumping from 5th floor of a tall building. You know, so if you jump from 5th floor, if you ask the scientist what will happen, scientists can say that, well, probability is very high that you will die, you know. So yeah, that is what the science will say. It's all about the chance, right? But scientists will never tell you do not jump. So to jump or not to jump is not under the purview of a scientist. So it's not that is what ethics and science are very different, you know. So science deals with probabilities and science deals with absolute truth, you know, objective reality. That is what the science is all about, friends. Belief no place in science, or views. Many people ask me what is my views about genetically modified crops. Of course, I don't have any problem with GMOs, but it's immaterial. You know, if I believe in it or it doesn't believe in it, if I don't believe in it, so what? Climate change. When you ask me what is my take on climate change, yeah, you don't have to believe on the climate change, but we know it. Climate change is real. It's happening. You know, or do you trust science? Well, it's immaterial again. If I trust or not to trust, science is all about truth. You know, it's all about objective reality, friends. And yes, science work by criticism, either to ourselves or to our peers. You know, Mahatma Gandhi famously said that the civilization is the encouragement of differences, in which he meant difference of opinion. You know, yes, that we have to encourage it, then only the civilization will progress. What Gandhi said, I completely agree with that. You know, science to love failures and criticism, friends. We look for disconfirming evidences, not confirming evidences. Yes, you know that your principal famously said, I mean, just now he said that about the confirming evidence. So, you know, we are actually spending huge number of money just to confirm that this is true. The whole point of the research is completely gone. You know, for example, Gayatri Mantra for COVID-19. That is one of the major projects sanctioned by the Ministry of Science I think it's to AIMS Rishikesh. It's a recent news in the last March. So that money is effectively used to confirm that, you know, Gayatri Mantra works for COVID-19. It's simply making food. So it's the kind of confirmation is not the science. Science deals with disconfirmation, you know. So criticism, then only we can actually make progress. So then how about the religion? You see, religion is entirely different. Religion is all about confirmation. That is what the book is all about, right? No edits for the last 400 years. That is, they're saying that it's a big thing. You know, that is a fundamental difference, friends. George Bernard Shaw famously said that all great truths begin as blasphemies, you know. Yeah, because the truth, nobody likes it, right? The same thing with most of the famous scientists, Aristarchus or Copernicus or Bruno. You know, the Bruno, the famous Italian, you know, astronomer. So he was burned alive because he said that Earth is not the center of the universe. You know, he was against the biblical, whatever it was there in the Bible, you know, the Genesis part. Religion have got no tolerance on it. You know, he simply burned him alive. You see that, friends. He famously said, I love this statement: truth does not change because it is or it is not believed by a majority of people. Truth does not change because it is or it is not believed by a majority of people. A famous statement by Bruno. Yes. So it is not about consensus. In democracy, consensus matter, but for science, it's not about consensus. It's about objectivity. So objectivity is different from neutrality. I don't really have any time to propound on all this topic. I have covered in many of my videos in the YouTube channel. Please check it out. But yeah, but there are so many you know, connections between science and democracy, you know. So well, if you just come back to it in a short time, but another very famous statement is by Einstein: value of education is training of the minds how to think. Yes, it's not about just publishing some crap papers that no one reads, you know, or those papers that will fetch you some job. That is not the purpose of education. Purpose of PhD, especially nowadays, is training the students to publish some paper. Unfortunately, this is the case. It should not be the case. You know, the PhD as well, the purpose should be how to make you know, a responsible citizen, or how to train the mind to think about cognitive biases and logical fallacies and scientific method. Yeah, you know, way back to in Japan, it's, I told you, it's a country of approximate size and population of our UP. It has produced 28 Nobel Prize winners, friends. 28. And post independence, India has not even produced not a single science Nobel Prize winner. These are all the science Nobel. I'm saying, if you include other Nobel, then the count increases. And Japan now has got the GDP is the third largest in the world. And yeah, that is what the Japanese, we really have to learn from them. And now looking back in the Japanese national holiday, yes, I really want to share that. They have national holidays like us. Do you know what are these holidays in Japan? Vernal equinox, autumnal equinox, day for oceans, day for mountains, greenery day, and so on. Solstice and equinoxes are holidays. These are astronomical events, natural, purely natural, but not a single day for religious observations, friends. Even Christmas is not holiday. You might think the Japanese are Buddhist. Is a Buddha Purnima is holiday there? No. Friends, Japan is mostly atheist. 80% and more than that are atheist. And in Japan, there is no alternative medicine. Homeopathy is completely banned in Japan, or none of the alternative medicine is there. And are they missing something because of this no alternative medicine? Friends, they live the longest in the world. The average life expectancy of Japan is, it's the biggest in the whole world, around 88 years, and that is even though they don't have any of this homeopathy or other pseudoscience there, they actually live. They're not missing anything. They're producing wonderful, Nobel Prize winners, or the standard of living is also pretty high. And coming to this, the homeopathy, friends, 300 crores, 3,000 crores. Yeah, sorry. 3,000 crores is what we spent on our annual budget. We have homeopathic medical colleges everywhere, government medical colleges and homeopathic dispensaries. And we know it. It's in high school chemistry, Avogadro's principle. If you dilute something, the atom will become lesser. It's a dilution principle, right? Avogadro's principle. And the homeopathy is against it. It's not science at all. It's a pseudoscience. And it has been banned in a countless number of countries, including its birthplace. Do you know where the homeopathy was born? Samuel Hahnemann is the one who made this entire pseudoscience in Germany. And I was in Germany. And yeah, in Germany, there is no homeopathy. It's completely banned in Germany. And whatever is nonsense we import in India, friends, this is what we really have to change it, And countries with significant atheist population like Japan, like Scandinavia, have some of the, the world's lowest crime rate, friends. And the standard of living is extremely high. That is something we really have to learn it. Science really works. And coming back to the same discussion, the AIDS, look at that. In 1990s, if you are HIV positive, the life expectancy was just 59 years. And now it is 77 years if you are taking the proper medicine, So AIDS is no more a deadly disease. We are not aware of all these things, so somebody have to speak out because we take it for granted, So not really. So in the US, we have a very good data that per capita death due to the heart disease fell over 70% just for the last decade again, or just one decade, 70% fell. That's, that happens pretty slowly to catch our attention, but it's remarkable, really. And science have revolutionized virtually all dimensions of our life. It's an inconspicuous powerhouse, but we take all the comfort for granted. The vaccine, we take it for granted. So here in India, there are a lot of cognitive biases and logical fallacies that we don't even know it. For example, mask. I'm part of the Inside COVID, a very wonderful organization that involved with Hoax Busters. Busting the fake news and all those things, which got appreciation from famous British magazine called Lancet, And mask, for example, many people say mask is Western. If you love your country, if you're a nationalist, you should not use mask. Oh, come on. What a nonsense cognitive bias is that? Not made here. That is called, that bias has got a name. So as science too, many people say science is Western. So that is why we have a inordinate fancy with the pseudoscience in this country, friends. Yes, so it's a trash from all over the world, like homeopathy is here. I told you the homeopathy story, right? And yes, it was the homeopathy versus the modern medicine. So many people call modern medicine as allopathy. I'm sure you also use it in your common, everyday life. Allopathy itself is a coinage. It's a derogatory word coined out by Hanuman, the Hanuman, the Simon Hanuman. So that he want to criticize this, the modern medicine. So he invented the term, this allopathy. Please never use that in your language. It's a very bad word. And you're criticizing the whole work of the scientists and scientific community, So no alternative medicine in Japan or Scandinavia too, or also in the UK and Canada, they also banned homeopathy. And all these countries, I mean, of course, Japan, they live the longest. What are they missing? That is what you really have to think about it. And they don't have any of the superstitions like astrology or vastu, whatever you name it. So the reason for this tremendous, remarkable success of Japan is that they did that Kaizen, the science inspired lifestyle, friends. So there is a very famous internet meme, that says that every disaster movie starts with someone ignoring the scientist. Yeah, that is what is happening repeatedly in the COVID-19 time as well, So yes, the coronavirus that has been warned way back in 1998 itself. I have covered this topic many times in my channel. Please check it out, the videos. And yeah, we really need to integrate science to our policy making. There is the latest Nature editorial, the British Scientific Journal. Please check it out. I'll share that with the Dr. Jisha, so she can share with all of you in the WhatsApp group. And just check it out, because it says that, that the editorial says that Indian citizens are dying because of the flawed policies. There is no science in our democratic system. That is actually the problem here. In March 2021, the government has actually proposed multiple grants to create the Gayatri Mantra and Gangajal for COVID-19. That is what the editorial says, So if we discount the science as Western in this world's largest democracy, many people do that. Science is Western. Then how about democracy itself? We are proud to be the world's largest democratic country. France, democracy is also a Western concept. It's both science and democracy has got same birthplace. That is in Greece. And you might wonder why both were born in Greece. There is a reason for it. Because the Greek encouraged the dissent. The difference of opinion. That is what they love. The philosophers. Exactly, I would like to go back to the same quote by the Mahatma Gandhi. Civilization is encouragement of differences. Disconfirming truth. That is what the core scientific method, friends. And yeah, the science and democracy are also strongly interlinked because they both are built on the freedom of speech, independence, facts, and transparency. And if you don't respect the democracy, then you probably won't respect the science and vice versa. You see, that is what is actually happening. So coming back to my first instant of that nonagenarian scholar saying that, by the grace of God, I can tell you about my own mom. My mom is septuagenarian. She is 70 plus, and she had 9 heart surgeries in her life, 9 surgeries. And she's living with 4th pacemaker. Her first surgery was in SCT, Sri Chitra Tirunal, which is not too far from this college, the Kollam. It is in Trivandrum. And right now she's living in Kochi. And yeah, she had 4 pacemakers, So I would like to say that for her life, I'm really thankful to countless number of scientists, especially Winston Greybach, the American inventor, the American scientist who invented pacemaker. And if the pacemaker stops, I would lose my mom, friends. Science is really amazing. Science is curiosity driven, and science really needs respect in this country, And science has no nationalism. Winston Greybach is an American. So what? My mom is alive. And thanks to him, and thanks to countless number of scientists, And if you think that this particular thing that rationalism and science inspired Kaizen is, again, it's not really in Indian culture and Indian civilization, it's a Western, you're wrong. If you look at our own Purana, you can see that there is actually a philosophy called Charvaka school. I don't know, nobody speaks it. It's a part of Hinduism. Charvaka school, a very famous school in Hindutva. Well, I'm not religious, but yeah, Charvaka is interesting because Charvaka has completely gone out of fashion these days. But that philosophy is centered on rational skepticism. Charvakans never take anything for granted. They always question. Charvakans are against any kind of superstitions. Charvakans are only for reason and logic, friends. Yes, so like Charvakites, of course, Charvakites have no evangelism. Nobody is preaching, please come to the Charvaka school of philosophy. No, just like them, science also, there is no evangelism in the science to preach its gospel, to recruit its followers, like in any established religion and cult groups. So it's a time to give due credits to the science and scientists, for without which we wouldn't have, enjoyed all the safety, security, and comfort of the modern times. Yes, we are what we are today by the grace of science. We are what we are today by the grace of science. And I would like to stop this talk here. Thank you so much. And I'm open for any questions if you have.
Thank you, Felix. Could you see the Q&A box?
Questions, chat.
The lower panel near to participant, right side.
Okay, I can see a lot of comments here. Mostly these are from the Sin College, dear participants.
This question, shall I read it?
Okay, now let me read. So,
Okay, fine.
From
Manas.
I think the
Yes.
participant name what is your take on yoga, and is it celebrated practice worldwide and seems to be irrational practice against all the biomechanisms of the human body, and how to deal with it in a country like India? Yeah, very important question here by Dr. Narayanan SB. Yoga, yoga or Ayurveda. I don't call it Ayurveda as a complete pseudoscience. I defer here. Ayurveda is, I would say, it is a proto science. Ayurveda was rational during the time it was discovered. It was in the practice. So as yoga, and now that science is completely different, we are actually scientific method. Ayurveda also was following the scientific method, trial and error. There is no harm in that, but the things have tremendously changed. So yoga, coming to your particular question, Dr. Narayanan, yoga for me is a good form of stretching, and but beyond that stretching exercise part, you are actually saying, I attended some yoga classes, yeah, and the yoga instructors were saying this yoga is really good if you have some problems with your ovaries, and this particular yoga is really good if you have a liver issues. No, it doesn't work that way. None of these yoga postures can actually can be a solution for any of the medical problems. No, it's a good form of stretching, and that's it. And don't extrapolate still further that yoga is a cure for all and it's a mystical essence, it's a holistic, and nothing like that. And of course stretching should be part of your daily life, and more than that, much more important is rigorous exercise. And most of the Indians are not really exercising. When I was in Germany, I was shocked to see it. I was in Leibniz Institute and Max Planck as well. Institute completely stops at Friday post lunchtime, nobody is there, and it only opens on Monday. So they really enjoy their life on Saturday and Sunday. And what do? They run rigorously. They actually do cycling, very fast cycling they do in a park. And yes, so they are really outdoorsy lifestyle they have. I have been in many places in Scandinavia too, and they also have this sisu, that outdoorsy spirit. We completely lack here in India. We do a little bit of stretching and we call it as exercise. No, it is not. Simple solution I can tell you is that if you have a Android phone, just get Google Fit, and Google Fit has got a cardio. you can actually enable the gadget on your desk, on your, what do you call, the wallpaper. And there are two circles. The one circle is for steps, another one is for cardio. So you should aim to get both the circles complete every single day. That means that you should really do the rigorous exercise like running, or high intensity interval training, HIIT. I covered this topic in the YouTube channel also. Please check it out, my thing, right? Now I can, let me read some other question here. Mohabbat Singh. Well, Mohabbat Singh is my student, my friend. Yeah, my MSc student. I'm happy to see you, Mohabbat Singh. Baba Ramdev treats cancer. A lot of claims, not just Baba Ramdev. Chinese traditional medicine. The traditional medicine per se is not really pseudoscience. I will never say that. Traditional science is trial and error method, and science is, it's taking the traditional medicine as a heuristics. Rather than testing every single plant extract for the anti-cancer, it's better to look at what the tribes are using. Amazonian tribes and Peruvian tribes. Many of this cinchona bark, for example, is used for anti-malarial drug, right? So many of the success stories in the modern medicine comes directly from trial and error method, which has been adopted by the tribes, the tribal medicine. Yeah. Any questions?
14 questions are waiting in the Q&A box.
Oh, sorry,
Could
I'm
you find it?
chat.
I think you went for chat box.
Yeah, could you please read out some questions?
Yeah, first one from Amal Hussain.
Yeah.
Sir, everything in this country, including education and job opportunities, are divided into caste. I think so. It is not happening in any democratic country. To getting an admission in college is so hard, and people who don't have a higher degree will admit to college, and rightful person didn't get into college. Sir, do you think it is a time to exceed or to put an end to the caste division?
So this question has got two parts. One is about the caste system, right? So if you ask me about the caste system, I'm against it. I'm completely against the caste system. But anyway, it's immaterial. Do I believe in or do I against? It's up to you to take it or not, right? But then the second question is about Amal Hussain is asking about the reservation. He is actually indirectly he's pointing to the reservation system. Am I in support of reservation system or am I against the reservation system? Again, my belief or my take has immaterial to you. But if you ask me, I can say for sure that I support reservation because there are several privileges that we enjoy. My name is Felix, but I changed my name. I was born in a Brahmin family, raised by a Brahmin family. Well, it's not a rich family, but my father was a high school teacher. My mother was a nurse, and I changed my name because I don't like the caste system. And it was a caste identifying name I had earlier. It was known as my earlier name was Srijit Vadake Mathum Nambishan. I was Nambishan, So I changed it because people are simply born into a system and they're spending the rest of the life justifying this religion or this caste is the best. How irrational it is, right? You are not deciding to be born. I didn't decide. Honestly, you know it very well. It's common sense. I didn't have any volition. I didn't decide to be born in a Hindu system or Hindu Brahmin. It just happened. And because I just happened to be born in a Brahmin family, should I justify? Should I spend my rest of my life justifying that Hindutva or Brahmin is the best in the world? Come on, that is not rationalism, right? There is no common sense in that argument. Now coming to reservation. Yes. So reservation, I got a job here. Yes. I'm an associate professor in a central government. Do you think that I beat the reservation? Of course, it's very difficult if you're a general category. You know it very well, right? Amal, you know it very well, how tough to get into the government system. But yeah, indirectly, I've been enjoying so many privileges. I was not born in poverty. I was not in a low caste system. Had I been in a low caste family, my parents might not have even sent me to a school. There are several things that we simply take it for granted, friends. It's better to be humble and better to understand that you are several things, there are so many wind from backside pushing you further. Even the fact that I'm a man itself is a privilege. I can walk in the midnight, no problem. You know, I'm a cyclist, yes. Even unknown city, I can go on a cycle in the midnight. I don't really have to care about it. But if you are a woman, can you go like that? That itself is a privilege. I take it for granted. It's not like that, no. And caste system, of course, it's not just in India, the reservation is not just in India. Even in the US, there are actually reservations for underprivileged group. And just because blaming the reservation system for all the problems with this country, I don't think that's a good option. But caste system should really go. Eventually, it should go. Yeah.
This question from Manas Madhukar. As you discussed about gel shower and showering blades, market is continuously manipulating or tricking our mind to buy the things. What is the root cause of consumerism?
Again, you're mixing many things, the consumerism versus the cognitive biases. So ad propaganda is all about the critical thinking. If you ever take a small course on critical thinking, you would be better off to spot the logical fallacies in various advertisement, to know that these are nothing but a fake. This doesn't work that way. But yeah, consumerism, what is the root cause? It's all about the lifestyle. I would say the root cause of consumerism is our herd instinct, groupthink. One good example would be cycling. In India, for example, cycle is only considered for the school kids. If you are in +2, oh well, it's time for to buy a scooty. And if you get a job, any kind of job, maybe a peon, yeah, it's time to buy a car, a small car. And if you get a promotion, time to upgrade the car to a bigger and nicer car, right? That's all the group thing, friends. I don't have a car, so what? And I got a promotion last year, and usually all my friends, after getting promotion, they bought a better car. And after my promotion, I had a car earlier, I got rid of it. That is what I did. From car I went to a motorcycle. For sometime I have to go for a bit further, so the cycle will not suffice. Otherwise, frequently I'm in the cycle. And by the way, I was in Germany recently, and in Germany, the institute director, the Leibniz Institute director in Germany, the youngsters are directors. She was only 35 years and she was a director. So what? It's immaterial in foreign countries. It was immaterial here in India too during Nehru's time. Do you know how old was the one who established the BARC in Bombay, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, right? The Homi Bhabha. He was only in his 30s when he was the director of that institute, founder director. That is now actually completely going from this country now, that spirit. And this director used to come every single day on her cycle, and plus that cycle had one trailer backside in which her daughter used to sit. And she first sent that daughter to her nursery, and from that nursery she comes to the institute, to her director's cabin. And every day when she goes to the nursery to pick, and then goes home. Can you ever imagine a director like her here in India? The directors are chauffeur driven. They don't even have any attitude to drive themselves. They usually have driver. That attitude is, I think that's a root cause of this consumeristic mentality. People in my group are buying so and so product, so I would also like to buy it. The same thing. That you should actually get out of that the group think, or herd instinct, or herd behavior, whatever you call it. And it's immaterial how whatever the way that you live. So what? You're not proving to anybody, right? You have only one life. So many people might be criticizing me that he's a very odd kind of person. He's sharing many things in the Facebook. I do share my life, or so everything is open. So well, if I keep on listening to other people, then how can I live? So I'm living my life myself. So yeah, consumerism, I think the root cause is the group thing. Yeah.
And one more question from Adira. How did the scientific revolution contribute to the development of democracy?
So I told you about this, many things are quite similar in the case of science, scientific thinking and democracy. The main thing is that transparency. If the science is not transparent, if you try to fake your data, then of course that is not a good science. That doesn't lead to any progress. So as democracy, if you start, not being transparent about your democracy, democratic practices, then that democracy is never going to become progressive. So anything to become progressive, be it a school or be your own profession as a teacher, you have to seek out, you should actually listen to what others say about it. The feedback loops are really important, and criticize yourself. That's the only way for any rational entity to become progress, be it in science or in democracy. You should self-criticize. That's just like the example which I told you earlier about the Topography of Terror museum funded by the German federal government. Imagine such museum here in India. Yes, that should be the kind of for the future that youngsters should aim for. We should criticize, then only the nation can, become much more better. So yeah. And those youngsters, if you are applying for this foreign scholarship, think about coming back home. Of course, I can, if I really want right now, I can go abroad and settle. But that is not what I wanted. I want to improve this country. So many people are coming back home to serve this country, to see a better country. The reason why I accepted this invitation to spend this time with you is just to give a little bit of inspiration. If you work harder, we can also make this country much better. So only option is that we have to criticize our age old practices. Then only we can actually make the progress. That is called the Kaizen method. But if you think that old is gold, for example, copper water bottle, I've devoted so many YouTube videos on it. It's getting really popular these days, isn't it? Water bottles made of copper. It's not good. Science have repeatedly shown that copper causes Alzheimer's disease, and still even after hearing all these things, people buy the copper bottle, think that okay, copper is microbicidal. Correct, copper is microbicidal, but why are you mixing all this together? So if you see that old architecture in Kerala, for example, if you go to old temple, so the temple door knobs are made of copper, right? Which is good. I completely agree, because these are formite. Many people will touch that, door knobs, right? Door handles. So those kind of things, building with the copper is excellent, because copper is very well known antibacterial. The surface is antibacterial. But if you cook with copper utensils, copper bottom is okay, because that's not in directly in touch with the food, right? Copper is really good for the cooking. The reason is that the heat conductivity is really good. But if you cook directly with the copper, or if you drink water on a copper bottle, copper gets leached, and copper causes cupiditis as well as Alzheimer's disease. It's very well known. Still, we fall prey for these advertisement gimmicks, and we think that old is gold. Whatever is there in the traditional system, whatever my grandparents were doing, these must be true. Wrong. We should criticize ourselves. If my grandfather used to chew the pan and spit on the road, should I justify? Should I spend rest of my life justifying this is right? No. Yeah. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes. One question from Manas. Science is evolving tremendously, but why it not reaching to the working class or comforting the working class? Where is the error? Isn't separating ethics from science is a reason that science is serving to the elites only?
Yeah, I disagree with that comment. The science is serving to elites only. Of course, the science the economic system is very different from the scientific principles. So science again doesn't deal with any of these things. So even to jump or not to jump is up to you. Science deals only with the truth, you know. And it's, of course, it's a double-edged sword, like Alfred Nobel, you know it, right? Exactly. Or the Einstein, he might not have thought that it can be used for you know, unethical, like war, you know, of course, the nuclear weapon and nuclear power plants. So both ways you can use the science for, right? So how we use is actually, the ethics doesn't come under the realms of science. You know, that doesn't mean that people who are you know, atheist or rationalists are unethical. I told you the criminal you know, that statistics about the criminality is so much lesser in the countries where atheism is much higher. So it's not right to say that you know, ethics can only be achieved through religion. No, not at all. So it's all about the virtues, how you define the virtues. So of course there are some commonalities all around the world. Killing others, or the violence is not virtue in any of the civilized society, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, it all depends on the way that you treat you know, the why science is not reaching to the working class. Even working class, if you look, the life expectancy is so much higher than 100 years back. So it's not right to say that it's not actually reaching to the working class. But yeah, there are disparities, economic disparities, and it all depends upon the economic system, you see. Some countries are socialistic. Here, this India, our country is also democratic socialist, right? If you look at the preamble of our constitution, it's a socialist country, but we end up paying money for vaccine, right? COVID-19 vaccine, you have to pay money. In socialist countries, any other countries also, like in the Russia is a socialist country, and if you want to buy the Pfizer vaccine, you have to pay money. It's not free. Now you go to the US, ultra capitalist US, it's free. Vaccine is free for all the citizens. Homeless people or super rich, everything is free. Or Scandinavia or Netherlands, laissez-faire capitalist society, and still it's free. So you cannot say that socialist is better than capitalist in this or that. You know, overall we should aim to improve the standard of living, upliftment of the poor people. That is what we have to aim. You know, the Human Development Index, there is something called HDI. We should actually improve this HDI. I'm really happy that in India, if you look at the HDI per state, the number one is Kerala. And Kerala's Human Development Index is similar to Mexico. Well, Mexico is also a developing country. And how did we improve our HDI? Because we improved the education. Yeah, we prioritized education and health. And that prioritization is really, really important. It's immaterial which political party comes in the power. But if we can channel our resources on education and health, and of course, environment as well, then we can achieve remarkable progress to upliftment of the poor people in the country. Yeah. Another example would be Scandinavia, you know, Finland or Norway or Sweden or Denmark, some of the top in the world when it comes to the Human Development Index. And these countries follow a mixed approach. You know, they are socialist in certain level, and they are capitalist in some other respect. It's a free market, but there is a huge taxation. I asked one of my friend who is a college professor, university professor, and he said that, you know, I asked him, you are paying almost 60% of your monthly salary back to government as income tax. Are you happy about it? And he said he's absolutely happy. Do you know the reason? Everything is free in Norway and Denmark or Sweden or Finland, wherever you say, right from education in the preschool all the way to the PhD and professional education, everything is free. And their hospitals are world class, you know, and treatment is also completely free. You don't have to pay any money for it. Medical insurance is free for all. So why not pay some money to ensure all these things? Yeah, that is what, yeah.
One more question from Manas. As a vanguard of science, shouldn't scientists or intellectual be activists like Periyar A.V. Ramaswamy or Narendra Dabholkar, who was actually responsible for the scientific upliftment of the Indian society? What is the initiative of today's scientists regarding educating the working class?
Yeah, that spirit should come from inside. You see, it's an internal driver. Nobody asked me to work for science communication. I like science communication. I like to educate. My priority is actually educating the the youth, especially my target is youth. By the way, I founded one academy, Young Academy of India. Right now we have around 20,000 members, so it's completely free. If you would like to become a member of EI, you're welcome. Please apply, and this is completely free, and it's a free thought. The entire communities for science communicators. The volunteers work for science communication, and we have very good networking also. Yeah, so yeah, I'm a big fan of Periyar. I'm glad that Manas, you bought this Periyar E Ramasamy or Narendra Dabholkar. He did a fantastic work in Maharashtra. I'm a big fan of all of these people who are actually working for the upliftment of the youth. But unfortunately, yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually work that way because there is so much of the opposition in the country. So it doesn't matter. But if you force somebody to work for the science communication, usually the science communicators by profession are inferior. But science communicators by choice, if you want to be a communicator, then it's so much better that way, right? So yeah, that is what it should be. Internal. To serve, the spirit of serving the humanity should come from inside. And if you ask someone that you have to be part of this science education drive, then usually whatever they produce are mediocre. This mediocrity doesn't merit any attention from learned society.
One question from Suma, whether you believe that homeopathy is rubbish, and any talk of yours about it. Maybe she asked about YouTube channel.
Okay, homeopathy I haven't, but yeah, there are actually several hawks busters of the homeopathy. Yes, homeopathy is pseudoscience, and I told you, homeopathy is born in Germany. The Samuel Hahnemann is a German. It's not an Indian. Many people think that okay, homeopathy is our traditional medicine. No, it's not. It's born in Germany, and Germans don't want it. It's banned in Germany, and still people believe in it. You know, so homeopathy is complete pseudoscience. But other alternative medicine, I cannot say that the folk remedies. I won't say that it's complete. What they know, they do it right. The pseudoscience is that they portray as if they are much better than the real scientist. Pseudoscientists, they wear a lab coat, and their conversation is full of technical jargons like quantum physics, and they say that this is the best. So no, this is actually complete rubbish, friends. Homeopathy, I told you, even Avogadro's principle is not followed in homeopathy. If you dilute any substance, for example, what liquor, if you dilute a liquor, it becomes diluted, simple. But homeopaths say that the mystical essence of the liquor gets amplified. How is it possible? And what is this mystical essence means? There is no proof for it. So homeopathy is not a science at all. It's a pseudoscience, and there is no point in spending money for the homeopathy. There is no homeopathy in most of the established countries in the world. They are doing fantastic. The human development index is too high, and still we need this. Yeah.
One statement from Anand TS. There are many things beyond science. Sticking on science and its theory is not applicable in certain situations.
Yeah, well, there are many things beyond science means what? Yeah, means emotion. Emotion is not science. So the point is all about the same thing. If you believe in the emotion or your own intuitions to drive your decision making, then these decisions are not appropriate. Decisions based on science will be the fruitful on a long run. That is what we have to learn from the countries which are doing much better than our own nation. Like in Japan, it's not Japanese, they started the science business. No, even automobile, they got the tricks from Germany. Germans knew how to make fantastic car, and they got the tricks from Germany, and they started replicating, right? And they started improvising this automobile design in Japan, and that is the reason of their extremely high quality controls and workmanship. It's not that they invented anything, and it's immaterial from where the idea comes from. There is no point in justifying whatever our ancestors did is fantastic. Yes, zero is discovered in India. So what? They are fantastic. They are amazing people. But that is not justification that you are also amazing, right? You should also work harder. That should be the spirit of it. Yeah, and yeah, so there are many things beyond science that itself is, I don't agree with that. Science is all about truth. Yeah, there are many things beyond truth. Lie. Yeah, lie is beyond truth. Emotion doesn't comes in truth. So science is all about nature, to understand nature in a better way, and there is nothing like belief system in science. You might completely disbelieve that earth is not round, it's flat. Yeah, there are so many people, millions rather, members of this flat earth community, and there are several people believe that COVID-19 itself is a conspiracy. There is nothing called COVID-19. There are people, the learned people also, the doctors are member of that community. It's immaterial. You believe in or not believe. We know that COVID-19 is real. People are dying. Cremations are happening, and still people think that it's a hoax. So yeah, that is what. There are many things beyond science. I agree with you, but it depends on you to take it or not to take it. Yeah, for me, I'm really happy the way I live. It's my life is completely 100% devoted to science and spreading the real message of the reason and science, and it works me. So as my mom, yeah, she is now 74 years and she is completely into science. And what is the problem that she is facing? I'm really happy about the immense contributions of countless number of scientists who is actually responsible for my mom's life. Yeah.
One question from our colleague Kiran Raj MS. Is science the only or best way to gain knowledge? It's a current FB debate in Scientific Thinkers of Kerala. Your opinion, please.
So is science the only way to, what is the question again?
Gain knowledge. Only or best way to gain knowledge. It's a current debate topic in FB, Facebook.
Yeah,
Among scientific thinkers.
Yeah, the science as a subject is no, but science as a scientific method, yes, of course. To know that the knowledge, to improve, to design something, scientific method works. So yeah, science is really important, and doesn't mean that everything has to be science alone. Art, for example, I'm a big fan of art, music. So music also is keep on improvising, because musicians are also applying the scientific method. If you do not apply the scientific method, you can never become a maestro. If you want to improve your violin practice, for example, I'm learning violin. Yes, so to improve the violin practice, what do you have to do? Practice makes man perfect? No. Learn from your mistake, learn from failure, then only you can make progress in your life. Criticize yourself. So that is what there's so many the core scientific method goes beyond the science as well. For example, history. In science we have pseudoscience. They say that we are the real scientist, and they say something with a complete nonsense, the technical sounding jargons, and the books are like golden. If you look at the homeopathy books, most of the books are with a golden backbone, fantastically bound with that old English font, that looks an impression that, wow, this is amazing golden script. All these are tricks and tactics to people, friends. And now coming to history, yeah, it's like science have pseudoscience, history also have the problem called historical revisionism. When I was in Berlin, I met one guy, a teenager, and he says that, well, man, this entire Holocaust is it's a fake news. It didn't happen. There are people, the white supremacist that is actually developing, especially the Trump period, QAnon, for example, in the US. This white supremacist keep on saying that the Holocaust itself is a fake. they revise the textbook, so all these are the problems with it actually goes beyond sciences. The historical revisionism is happening here in India too, the textbook revisionism, right? I really don't have any time to go deeper into all these topics, but yeah, so this is the problems. Yeah, so yeah, the scientific method works, and something works, we know it very well, it works, then why to actually get out of it? So the problem actually that something that actually hurt me a lot these days is that people are making use of the science, and the scientific method like the Facebook and WhatsApp to criticize the science, to spread the fake news. They are hypocrites. What else I can say? Yeah.
One question from Dr. R. Ramakrishnan. Excellent lecture, sir. Let me know the strategies to enhance scientific thinking in the day-to-day life and also the current society. What
Yes,
are the strategies?
Dr. Ramakrishnan asked this question, and yeah, thanks for the appreciation. To strategies to enhance scientific thinking is basically spread the message of science. Whoever knows, say that it's basically the undue credit should go to the science, not to the by the grace of God. It should be by the grace of science. Science works, but people should actually have more appreciation for science, to inculcate it. If you have little kids, give them some good popular science books, or subscribe to some good popular science magazines. I grew up reading Eureka, for example. When I was in school, I was educated in a Malayalam medium school, and Shastra Keralam when I was on the high school. These magazines are still there, and it's fantastic. The magazines published by the KSSP are really great, and why not, instead of simply spending time on social media or WhatsApp or the TV, which are complete time suckers, ask your kids to read some really good the popular science books that can actually give some more ideas and inspire them to make a better world for all of us. Like, for example, The Cosmos by Carl Sagan, fantastic book. Yes, there are Malayalam translation also available of The Cosmos by Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad. You can buy it. And yes, so parenting trick is that if you if you ask the kids to read and you are not reading, then nobody would like to take it. You should show by doing it. If you are reading, both the parents are reading, then the kids will definitely grow up reading the books. So that's really important. Yeah.
One question from Abhijit is, major questions arise by religious leaders is not nothing. Could science make them vacuum? So how can we criticize them? I couldn't get the point.
I also think major questions arised by religious leaders is that nothing could science make from vacuum. So how can we criticize them? Something like discounting the science. There is something beyond science. The same argument many people are saying. What is there in the universe? I mean, we science friends, we are not hypocrites, and we don't know many things. It's called intellectual humility. We don't know many. For example, COVID-19, there are so many unanswered questions than answered question. For example, vaccines will give you 78%, Covishield, for example, that is what the original estimate is, 76%, the Chadox and COV2 vaccine. Even if 76% is the success rate, people are crowding in front of the vaccine disbursement units. People are coming out of this, the religious institutes. They are no more in the queue, and they are going. The religion is promising 100% cure, right? The faith healing works that way. They have been telling this for years and years, that by prayer you can cure any disease. Then science is promising only 76%, and still people are there because we know it works. There are so many unanswered questions. COVID-19, one good example recently. 2 days back, I was on a webinar at PGIMER, Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences in Chandigarh. And yeah, so webinar is about COVID-19 vaccine. And one of the questions is that, are pregnant women safe for vaccine? Well, we don't know that. There are limitations in medical research. The limitation is that most of the vaccine trials were not done on pregnant ladies, lactating women too, because of the obvious ethical problem. There are stringent ethical regulations if you really want to do the science. For the pseudoscience, nothing is required, But for science, yes, statistics matters, stringent ethical regulations are important. And because of this ethics, of course it's deeply ingrained to your belief system too. If I ask you, are you pro-life or pro-choice abortion, how will you justify the abortion? Is it pro-choice or pro-life? It's very accepted reality that people are two different opinions. So what, it doesn't matter. Science also has no one opinion for it. So we don't know many things, so that doesn't mean that science doesn't work, but science never claimed that we know everything, unlike religious stalwarts. So religious people say that, well, we are everything, we are beyond criticism, and if you criticize, I will kill you. That is what the church said, right? The Catholic church way back in Bruno's time. And they did it. They burned Bruno alive for the blasphemy that he committed by saying that earth is not the center of the universe. So, and the same experiment I shared you, 400 years old book, no revisions, as something to be proud of. It's nothing to be proud of, friends. Criticism is how you can actually improve yourself, and science is always humble. Intellectual humility is the hallmark of scientific method. We never say that we know all. There are several limitations. On the other hand, if you ask me, are menstruating women fine with the vaccine? Yes, it's beyond any doubt. It's absolutely fine. There are fake news coming in so many WhatsApp channels that menstruating women should not get the vaccine. Come on, why people are spending their effort on channeling their mental energy, wasting their lifetime on spreading lies that may kill the people? Come on. But we are living in the planet Earth limited number of days. I can die anytime, so it's better to die on a with a graceful mind rather than duping the entire society, isn't it? That is what I prioritize. Yeah.
One question from Harish Joy. Sir, the computer technology improved in last decade tremendously, but the medical science will not reach at that level. Why is the reason?
Yeah, I told you the medical science is also progressing. It's happening at a very slow rate that we don't actually, it takes decades to see the difference. Many people, I'm sure many of these viewers think that HIV is a big problem. If you get HIV positive, then your life is gone. No, that was a case in few decades back, but now, cancer, some of the cancer is much more dangerous than AIDS. COVID-19 is a lot more dangerous than AIDS, because AIDS people can easily live up to the age of 80 years, even 90 years if they are taking the medicine, because the science is progressing. And many of the cancer, my mom, of course, my mom is a miracle lady. I told you, 9 open heart surgeries, 3 pacemakers. She's living in the 4th pacemaker, and she's a cancer survivor too, 4th grade cancer, the lymphoma. And yeah, the science is progressing, friends. And yeah, the medical science is also progressing. Might not be like how the data, that what do you call that? There is a law. I forgot the law. Gates law. I don't know. Maybe Harish can write the law. It's exponential increase of the data. That is what like floppy disk, how much data it can save nowadays. Even the small pen drive can save so much better, right? There is a law governing that one, right? I forgot that. I think it's Gates law. I don't know. Yeah. So yes, so it might not be that fast, but yes, it's remarkable. But many of us don't even know it, and we don't really appreciate the hard work that the scientists are doing for coming up all these common sense solutions. Now we know very well that if you smoke, the risk of having a lung disease is so much higher. We take it for granted. Oh, well, we learned it in the school. It's nothing new. But friends, just to get this association, smoking with lung cancer, It took 20 years. It's something called Framingham Heart Study. The Framingham is a small village in Boston, and they revealed so many associations. For example, trans fat. If you eat trans fat, can lead you to the coronary artery issues. We take it for granted now. Oh, it's nothing. It's a common sense. No, it's not common sense. It took 20 years, lots of money, and lots of hard work by countless number of scientists. So science work, and yes, we should actually have faith on science. I hate that word faith, but yeah, we should really respect science in our society. Instead of spreading or channeling our resources on spreading the pseudoscience and lies, we should criticize ourselves. Then only we can make the progress as a society.
One question from Jyotis. Is there a day come when science totally kills spirituality?
Yeah, I don't know that. The spirituality. I mean, I'm not really against the spirituality. The problem is that many people think that spirituality, the philosophy is equal to spirituality, which is incorrect. You don't have to be a believer in God to be a philosopher. And most of the Western philosophers, like Aristotle or whatever that philosophers which you see, the theology is entirely different. Only here in India we equate philosophy with theology and spirituality. It should be separate. Spirituality per se is a different aspect. So, but of course you can be a believer of God too, no problem at all. My mom is a believer of God, so what? And many people ask me the same question. Do I believe in God? Yes, I do believe in God. My God is nature. Preserving her is the priority of my life. Yes, so nature is my God. I'm a believer. Indeed, I'm a believer. So it's not about that the science is in direct contrast with spirituality or nature. No, science itself is nature, friends. Science is all about truth, to know what the truth is. That is what the spirit of the scientific discovery and the spirit of the revolutions, in the science. Yeah. Radical, the term that your principal has used. Yes, exactly. So being radical with scientific skepticism is never a bad idea, and never accept anything as a fact. You should actually question it. Even your own teacher, don't take it for granted. Always question. Yeah.
One more question from Nishi ma'am. She was my colleague. We know that science is indeed a boon when used properly, but many a time it is being used in the wrong manner, making it a bane. The boon part far outweighs the bane part. But is it not our duty to find means of making people understand that only the boon part should be imbibed? How do we inculcate that spirit? The spirit of using the positive side of science. Biological warfare is one such bane. One can give several examples, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have already discussed it. It's a double-edged sword, like I told you about the nuclear power. It can be used for good, like nuclear power plant generation, or bad, the nuclear and weapons. So, yes, so that is what the rational decision should come from within you. It's all about your, the ethics, ethics and virtue. So there are certain virtues which are binding, among the countries of the world, right? So that virtues are different as well. The justice system itself is very different, right? One good example would be the Darwin's theory of evolution, right? The Origin of Species, the book. If you take that book in your suitcase, and if you go to Turkey, Istanbul, and of course they also have got the customs, right? And if the customs find that book, you're under prison. They don't have any tolerance. It's a much hated book by a religious stalwart. I'm really happy I'm living here in India and we don't have that much a problem with the Darwin's theory of evolution. But if you are in Turkey, yes, the origin of species is banned. It can land you in jail. So their justice system is different from our justice system, right? So there is no uniformity, but still there are certain aspects that is uniform for everywhere, right? For example, violence is bad, killing is bad. So several such things are that we have to inculcate on our youth, the virtue system. But to inculcate this virtue system, you don't have to go for the religious route. And even if you teach religion, that doesn't mean that you have to actually support all the superstitions. No. Yeah, that's very different. No, I'm not really completely against the religious. Of course, the religion, there are several good points of religion. I'm a big fan of classical music. For example, TM Krishna of the Carnatic classical music or Western classical. So all this classical music, to a certain extent, is product of religion. That is, we know it very well. Because of the religion, this classical music come in existence. And even in India, the Carnatic classical is extremely religious and extremely casteist. If you look at the famous, the classical musicians are all Brahmins. Krishna has written several the pieces in Hindu. If you read his articles, you will see it. And he tried to get it out of that casteism. He has composed several interesting the pieces on Yeshu, Jesus and Allah, all those things, very interesting. Yeah. So, and food is also deeply ingrained to our culture, right? So I love several of this food, especially during the religious fasting days that we make, right? So these food items, the culinary items, are also deeply ingrained to the religion. So what? It doesn't matter. There's several good things about religion. We can take it, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that we really have to take all the superstitions too. Yeah.
Felix, shall we wind up the session, or you wish to stick on?
I'm fine. Yeah,
Q&A session.
it's really long. Yeah, I hope it has been useful to all of you. Yeah.
There are more questions coming, and it's your choice.
And you can contact me. Okay, any questions, you're welcome to contact me. You can email me, and I'll be happy to. Yeah, you can see me in Facebook, as well as please do subscribe to my channel. I have a YouTube channel. I'm pretty active in YouTube, and I also have this curiosity, which is basically a monthly science and technology show that I cover what is really happened in the world of science, the cutting edge of the science in the last month, and what to be expected in the coming month. For example, astronomical observations. I love sky watching. I feature everything in it. And also upcoming deadlines, for example, foreign scholarship, everything I cover. So please do subscribe to my channel. And
yeah, I have pasted here. I have pasted in the chat box.
Yeah. This is the link of the channel which I sent on the top. You can subscribe to it and keep posted. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to answer any of your questions on the chat box. In the YouTube. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, and let's learn together.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Felix. So it's a stunning session. And we can move into the next session. Vote of thanks. Over to Soumya.
Good evening, everyone. Our respected principal, Dr. R. Sunil Kumar sir, today's speaker and our chief guest, Dr. Felix Bast, Associated Professor and HOD, Department of Botany, Central University of Punjab, Dr. S.V. Manoj sir, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Aparna P. Ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Dr. Jisha S. Coordinator, Agora Series 2021, Dr. B. Hari, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, and all other faculties from our own college and other institutions, dear students. It's an immense pleasure to deliver and propose the vote of thanks for such an interesting session. First of all, I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. R. Sunil Kumar sir, for giving all the support in conducting Agora Series 2021. Personally speaking, I really enjoyed this session because being a philosophy teacher, I am into philosophy of science, and my research area was philosophy of science, and my topic was scientific rationality and methodological issues in philosophy of science, with special reference to Karl Popper and Thomas Kuhn, who tried to demarcate science from non-science. So personally, I could connect to this session, and I really enjoyed the session. So thank you, Felix Bast sir, for giving such a wonderful talk. Thank you. And I would like to thank Dr. S.V. Manoj sir, coordinator IQAC, for giving such a support for conducting Agora series. And I would like to thank Dr. Aparna P, assistant professor from Department of Economics, for delivering welcome speech. I would like to thank Dr. S. Jisha ma'am, coordinator Agora series and assistant professor from the Department of Zoology, for conducting Agora series very effectively. And I thank Dr. B. Hari sir for supporting all activities which is associated with Agora or any other seminars. And I thank all the faculties from our college and other various institutions and all the students and participants. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, dear Samya. Shall we wind up the session?